Is rooftop solar dead? A growing number of homeowners around the world are being told that they cannot install solar on their roofs. Why not? Maybe it's because their roof is historical, or the roof layout is simply not compatible, or it could be that their roof is just not big enough for the number of solar panels they would need to cover their energy needs. Is there a solution? In today's video, we're solving this problem for one of our clients in a very unique way. Our client has bought this house and he's doing a huge renovation, and he's going to be using a ton of energy. He's got these two huge 3-phase heat pumps to heat the property, but his roof simply isn't suitable for solar. And for that reason, we're installing 96 440 watt bifacial panels on this unused Menage. Now, this isn't the first time we solved this type of problem for our customer. Back in 2023, we transformed this tennis court into a huge solar array, generating 27 megawatt hours of energy per year for our customer. We also upgraded the panels on this enormous ground mount array in October of the same year. And now we're here undertaking what is, at the time of filming this video, our largest ground mount solar install to date. 37 megawatt hours of energy every year is what this system is estimated to generate. It's a 42 kilowatt peak system, and it's going to really help our client take the pressure off when it comes to their energy usage with all of that electric heating. Now, to undertake a project of this size, a lot of planning is required. In fact, our customer first contacted us over 6 months ago to show his interest in us helping with this system. In the meantime, we've done a bespoke design with 3D renders to show him what it would look like. We've undertaken a G99 application, which took over 6 weeks to get approved. And there's planning permission to take into consideration, which for ground mount systems in the UK is a requirement. But now we're finally ready to get stuck into the install. So like and subscribe, and let's get into it.
Good morning, this is day one, currently waiting for the materials to turn up. So we've got little things, so we're just trying to use our time wisely, start planning things out. We've already measured out on this Menage where we roughly need to position it, position the frames, which can get the feet out and put the basket down.
Right, we're down in the basement. Luke's already been here and run all these DC cables. They go in a trench out to the field. So we've got 6 DC armoured cables here, 2 AC cables, 1 for each stack of batteries. We're going to have a stack, I think 4 batteries high with the inverter, same that side, and then we'll leave a bit of slack on the cables from the isolators, so in the future the inverters can be moved up if he decides to have another stack of batteries added in. So yeah, it's all here ready, we're just waiting on the materials, and then we can sort of start getting that all on the wall.
So these 60 DC cables and these 2 armoured, they go up into the ceiling here, along, then they drop down here and go through next wall. And if we go upstairs, we'll show you a bit more. So the room downstairs is actually in this corner here, the other side. So actually come up, along under these floorboards, and then they go straight out to that outside window there. And if I take you outside, I'll show you where they come out there. And that room we was just in is this exit here. So they come out just below this window. They're dressed down in some tray here, and then they're all in a trench with some ducting, just if you want to pull anything else through in the future. They go along here, they've been dug up, and then they enter the horse Menage over there. So they carry along here. It looks a bit messy at the moment, but all the cables are here, and then they'll split off to their different arrays.
Just laying out our isolators on the floor to get a rough measurement. So we've got 1 AC and 3 DC isolators per stack. We're sort of limited on wall space, so we're just trying to arrange things. I think we can just get away with doing all the isolators in a row. On the left hand side, we'll have a stack of batteries, and then in between the next stack, we can just do the same again.
Chuck it on top, yep. I'll get that one inside quick. So we're getting wet. Oh, it's thunder! What am I doing with my life? Why? Why didn't I do an IT job?
So everything's been delivered bar the panels, which are coming tomorrow, I believe. We're just having a little measure up of where the batteries are going to stack along this wall, because we've got to stick to the manufacturer's guidance on like the distance between the walls and the gap between the batteries as well. Apparently there was talks of flipping this door around so it opens outwards, but we just got to double check that.
The shortest we can get away with is 300 off the wall and 600 between the batteries. Then that gives that door over there as much opening as it can. We've spoke to the customer and he's happy if we just stick the DC isolators up high above the batteries. That's not the only fire exit that's down here. The room behind us also has a door outside, so worst case they just don't use that door. It will still open, but following the new PAS document, ideally you don't want to be near to a fire exit or that close to a door, but like I say, we can just walk out of this one and go out the door, which is just behind this wall. As you can see, we've got the first stack up now, so this is 4 batteries high with the inverter, and we've got room above, so if the customer chooses, we'll leave some slack going to the inverter. And it's all a plug and play system, so you've got plugs down the right hand side. It's really nice and easy to install. A good thing about the 𝐒𝐮 stack is that it's modular, so for a place like this, down the back of the house, in the basement, it's a bit easier to maneuver them about, and you can just carry one battery at a time, stack them on top of each other, whereas other battery systems like the Tesla or the SolarEdge, it's one big bulky unit that's over 100 kilos. You've got to try and get that around, so that's one plus about this system. Alright, welcome to day 2. It's a bit drier this morning, so all of us have just got onto the Ħomeowners and we're just going to lay out all the Van der Valk rail, try set it out. It is due to rain within the next couple of hours, so all hands on deck. We're just trying to get everything done here. If it does rain, we can jump back into the plant room, carry on with the isolators and things. We'll just have to play it by ear, see how it goes.
So the ground mount system's almost all laid out. Until the panels are down or until the panels arrive, we're not going to know 100% where it goes, but we're setting it out as best as possible. The Van der Valk system, as I say, it's like 𝐼𝐼𝐼, just pieces together. Our DC's already been dug in underground over there. We're going to bring it up. We're going to build a little station over here with DC isolators. So one of the benefits of using a ground mount system compared to a roof mount system is ease of installation. If you look at the property that we're actually at now, well, it's a beautiful house. The roof space really doesn't suit PV. You've got small aspects here, there and everywhere, and you're going to end up getting 1-2 panel. It's going to be a full scaffold around the property to try and make use of the roof space. With this property, we've got this large, flat, open area that we can utilise for a ground mount system. There are houses out there that have got high energy usage, but they just don't have the roofing system for PV. So you can either go one of 2 ways. You either find an area where you could do a ground mount system. The alternative is to do a large battery only system, which I quite like for certain properties.
Okay, so this is my Picasso. Basically, we've got 3 banks. We've got this twice, and then we've got an east and then a west array. So we're going to do 1 string down. We'll link back up the row. We'll have to do a join to the next one, link back up the rows, link back down, back up the panels, and then we can run back down the basket back to the DC isolators. Looks messy, but we know what's going on.
You've then got a jump cable from there, goes all the way down, link, 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 over to this next row, all the way down to the end. Link, 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 and then your negative, string 1 negative, is this one here. So 1 negative, there, yeah? So the panels have just turned up. We've got 96 trainers going in. Like any job, there's always an issue with panels being delivered. Either the lorry's too big, the lorry's too small, they don't have a pallet lifter, they do have a pallet lifter, but they can't go down the road. Always seems to be a sticking point on every job I think I've ever done. We're gonna get the panels down as far as we can, as close as we can to the array using the pallet lift, and then it's gonna be handballing them. So 96 panels, there's 4 of us. It's about 20 odd trips, I reckon. And it's just started to rain again, so, but sun is coming and it better do. I don't like getting wet.
Another advantage really of having a ground mount system or working as a ground mount system for installers is things like the weather conditions. As you can see, it's quite windy and rainy out here, and if we was up on the scaffolding, because of health and safety and things like that, it wouldn't be safe to be working up there. But whereas you're on the ground, you've got no limitations. You can easily walk in between the rails, and it's a lot easier and safer to mount the installation. Also, being a ground mount system, the process is a lot quicker and a lot safer moving materials around. For example, if it was up on the scaffolding, we'd have to have a hoist, a specialist bag, just to lift the materials up. But as you can see here, we can just carry them and put them in place.
Right, cheeky update. We're still moving panels. We're about halfway there. Bash.
So these are Trina 440 watt, all black bifacial panels, 52 volt, good panel. All the panels are good now, to be fair to them, as long as you're getting the bifacial ones. But you do have to size your panels accordingly with ground mount systems. So there are only certain panels that will work with ground mount systems. So we've taken a break from carrying the panels over. We've got 36 more panels to bring down here. It was a hell of a slog, but the 36 panels are all sealed on a pallet, so they'll be fine there until tomorrow. As you can see, we've got various panels dotted around. The boys are just setting out now properly. The reason for co-pexing them and rather than just leaving the DC out is we're in a very rural area. There's been badgers, there's been all sorts kicking about. The customer's even got a track camera up over there just to see any wildlife. So we're really cautious of the fact that obviously animals could get to the DC cables and ruin the array. Yes, we could have run PV Ultra all the way around. Expensive though, it's very expensive to do. So all the strings DC have just been, I've just finished running the strings out, so we've got all our positive and negatives going back to where the isolators are going to go, so that's set out and ready. So with the ground mount system as well, it gives you the freedom to move the array around. When you get to a property, the property's fixed, you can't flip the property round so the biggest roof is facing south, or you know, the biggest aspects are east-west, so you can get the most generation. With the benefit of the ground mount system, we can tailor it. Yes, we're a little bit stuck with something like a menage because we want it to look good and we want it to follow the fence line in so it looks straight and looks appealing from the eye, but also we do have that variation. If it was slightly off angle, we could tilt it and then get that perfect east-west. We're just a little bit lucky that this is bang on east-west as it is. As you can see, it's getting dark, it's been raining, it's been cold. I wasn't supposed to be here till tomorrow, so I've turned up today to help the lads out. I'm glad I did, because them panels, lugging them down has been, she's been hard work. We'll see you tomorrow. Morning. So day 3 on site, it's Wednesday. We've actually just been here about an hour and got the remainder of the panels down. So it's all 96 panels down at the array. Plan of attack is to have a long day today, get the array finished and buttoned up. I think then we'll do a bit of an evening session in the plant room, getting the gateway mounted. If we can get all that done today, then my plan is to focus on the indoor stuff and the heat pumps on Thursday, and hopefully, fingers crossed, leave testing and commissioning for Friday, because no one likes a long Friday. Let's crack on.
After nearly 40,000 steps, we now have these panels to where they need to be. All the framework's up, we've measured it off, it's all nice and central now. The next step really is Lee's just making off the MC4 connectors for the link leads between each rows of panels. So yeah, we're literally going to start finally putting some panels on the rails.
DJ Ruben on the mic. What a mixer. Do you know what I miss? Garage.
Yeah, I love garage. Right, what way we're going to have all the serial numbers?
At the bottom?
Yeah.
So bottom right serial number, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, why has this been duggered already?
Was it?
That's duggered as a technical term for impact.
How many duggers?
No more than 4.
You in?
Yeah.
I need to get it level.
This is going to be painful.
Why is that so far out then?
This, I don't know how we're going to sort this out. Every single one of those are going to have to rotate.
You're better off starting to put a panel there then and measure it off the fence. Then you know that that's square off the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah?
You there? Up to here, yeah.
Right, what me and Ruben are just doing at the moment is Ruben's measured off this fence and he's run the basket nice and straight. We've run a string line down this way and measured off that fence. So we'll get our first row of panels on this side, and then when we know this one's nice and solid and square, then we can just go row by row and we'll measure off and redo the string line. It should just start to sort of take shape, because with this system there's so many different moving parts and adjustments you have to make, obviously, to fit your panels. Get the first one right and just, it should copy and paste. It'll all be square as long as the fence is. Ed. Hello. Hello.
So with ground mount systems, I suppose the one disadvantage is that you need planning permission if they're over 9 square metres. Now that doesn't matter whether they're fixed or not fixed. With roof panels, you don't. They come under some covenants that you can do without planning permission, home development or something. So yeah, it is one thing to consider, especially if you had a large system. So planning permission is definitely a consideration if you're having it and if it's over 9 square metres. Just push that panel in, please, Ruben.
So a few of you might have noticed we've got some big tall trees over on one side of the array. The customer's getting them chopped down a bit lower, so the sun starts in the morning, it comes over this way. So with them being lower, more sun will come. This side will be a little bit shaded in the morning, but you can't really odds it. You move them one way or the other, at some point in the day you're going to get some sort of shading. This gets quite a lot of sun as well, and we're going to have 2 spare isolators, and we've already run the cable back to the inverter. He has got space either side, so if he wants to expand the array he can, so he's got some different options.
We've just managed to get the first row on. We've just got another 5 more. I say just, but this one on its own has taken about an hour, so this is probably going to take us up to the end of the day anyway. It's all on, it's looking lovely. There's just a couple of things which is making this job a bit more difficult. Because this ground surface, it's like crushed rubber. The customer's leveled it off as much as he can. But like this one here especially, this is sunken down, so it sort of throws the shape and they're not all perfectly aligned. So as long as getting all the panels on, we've also got to go along as well and check that all the heights of basically the panels are all the same, so it looks nice and spot on.
As you can see, we're halfway through doing the array. We're just going to do this one, have a little break, get our energy back, move on to the next. It's just exactly the same as that side. With a system like this, having this big a space is so nice compared to a roof. Most roofs you can only fit X amount of panels on. We're fitting 96 panels here. That's plenty enough for this property and should get some good energy consumption in the summer.
While we're stringing this next line, just wanted to explain why we're using so many slabs, and it's because you've got all this open area blowing wind, and although it's quite a low system and it shouldn't get too much wind blowing up under it, it's good to weight it down because you think it's sort of acting like a sail if wind gets under it. But yeah, it's just to make sure that it stays grounded, and we're putting tons of weight on this one, so shouldn't be going anywhere, shouldn't have an issue.
We are just putting the last panel on the second to last row. We've been using this string line. It's actually quite essential, I'd say, especially for these ground mount systems. We've got a gap in between so you can walk up and clean each panels. In order to get them nicely aligned, if you look down here, we tie it to the first foot down the bottom and then just loop it round like this and then tie it up. And as long as we measure the same distance between these two and the very last ones, as long as we measure the same equal distance, all the panels should hopefully be in line.
Right, welcome back. It's day 4. It's currently 8:30 in the morning. All the arrays on, 96 panels are down. Still got some bits out there to do. There's a few MC4s to finish. In here, we've stuck a 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐭𝐞 gateway. and then we've put a new three-phase board for our own circuits. And the plan is, when we do a shutdown, we're just getting this up ready, and then when we do a shutdown, this mains power that comes into the property, we're going to take that out, put that into a switched fuse down here, and then from there we can come out into our gateway. In this three-phase board, we're going to have a three-phase car charger. It's the first AC 𝐒𝐮 𝐫 one we've done, so that'll be interesting to look at.
So we've split into teams today. We've got Luke and Ruben downstairs finishing off the batteries and the DC side of things. Obviously this is a three-phase board. The customer has got a new three-phase supply. If you're a new electrician, or if you just don't know, which some people don't, what the difference is between single phase and three phase is basically the incoming line conductors. So the single phase, you have one brown line conductor, one neutral return, and then your CPC, or as most people call it, earth. With three phase, you've got three line conductors. So you've got L1, L2, L3. What you can gain with three phase, and this is a really simple explanation, is you can get more juice to your property. You could go into all the technicals about it, you know, the voltage differences, etc. But if you put it simply, you get more voltage, get more amps per phase, and you can power more stuff. Now, we all know that EV chargers can't share RCD protection with anything else, so we have to go with this Proteus RCBO. I'm really confused why no other manufacturers come out with a three-phase RCBO yet. I think Schneider do, but they're like £1 for one RCBO. The EV is probably a good example. So a single-phase EV charger, 7 kilowatts, 7.4 kilowatts, somewhere around there. They sit around that. With a three-phase EV charger, 22 kilowatts. That's moving a bit more now, Ruben. So we've got to run an additional data for the second heat pump to shut down the contactor, something along them lines. We have to run an additional data from the second heat pump back to the inverter. Now, obviously, when the boys came here to first fix it, we only run one data from this point back to the gateway. The heat pumps are all the way down in the garden down there, but we do have a duct from the plant room upstairs to the heat pump. So the plan is to run a data through that duct into the plant room, split it there, and then bring another data down here to the inverter. But where this is an old property, it's been extended. Getting through from A to B is really difficult. We've managed to get one route through here, but it's proving a little bit tricky to get the final rod through, but we will get it done. Some call it determination, others call it stubbornness. Do you want to keep wiggling? Keep going. Keep going. I don't care if these rods snap. Look at the state of the rods that I've got. Is it there? Ah, beefeater's on Luke.
So I'm just doing some finishing touches to the array. We've got these side panels which will go on, stops any wind from going through, and it also just finishes off the edges. Another good point about ground mount system is we've left walkways in between, so it's just really easy for maintenance. Obviously if it was on a roof you'd have to pay for a window cleaner to get up with a pole or something. It's a good benefit. The lads are just cable tying the rest of the Copex, so let's go catch up with Tom, see how he's getting on.
We're trying to make a framework for our boarding with the DC isolators that we're putting out here. We're putting a point of isolation out here because we've got no optimizers or anything on the panels. The original plan was to point off some uni-strut, hammer them in, and then mount the PVC board on. But unfortunately, there's a lot of clay and all kinds of stuff underneath here, so we're struggling to get the uni-strut in. Made the executive decision to dig some holes. We're going to post-crete the uni-strut in and then build the framework off of it, so we won't be able to finish this framework till tomorrow. So you heard me say down there that we haven't put optimizers on the system, and there's an argument for both ways. So we haven't optimized the system. The first reason was client and costing. If we were going to put optimizers on the system, then we would put a different inverter on. The losses that you could then get from converting the DC to AC and then back again. I think with the calculations, it was more beneficial to just go with an unoptimized system. Now there are third-party optimizers out there, 𝐼𝐭 and various other brands. I'm not a massive fan of 𝐼𝐭. I have used them on previous installs, and the faff that you have with data running to and from can be a little bit tricky. It also means another app for the customer on the end, which is fine. Some of the customers throw it into Home Assistant and things like that, so they actually have it on one platform anyway. But if customers are looking for just one app to monitor their PV, their battery, their home and everything, which this system will do, then really an unoptimized system was the best way to go here.
So that's the end of day 4. Well, not for us, it's currently 5 to 6. We've still probably got another couple of hours. But yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. So you join us on the 5th and final day. The aim today is just to get it all up and running and generating for the customer. So we've got the isolators in place, and we've actually got the armoured DCs running out from the house to these.
So we're doing the changeover now. Lee's been outside because where the DNO have installed the new supply coming into this property is like in the woods. I've obviously performed safe isolation, and now we're looking at changing over. It's getting this cable, which is coming from the switch fuse, into this isolator. Then I'll work on putting these meter towels back into this board.
So addressing the DCs, these are going to the array. I need to put a few clips in that, so it's only it's not the final product as so. We're just getting the armours through where they come through from the house. We're just mounting on this tray here. I'm just putting a few cable clips at the moment. I'll replace them with metal ones. They last a bit longer. But yeah, got the first one in. It's just a sequence of dressing them in slowly, making off each armoured, bringing them in. Like I said, these two are going to have nothing in apart from these DCs coming from the house, but yeah, it's not too bad to be honest, apart from the weather. Can't complain.
Don't worry, all you keyboard warriors. I will be talking this up. Weak hands. Too much time in the office. So that's the mains all done. Took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Just a couple of little snags on the way. We couldn't get any 3-phase stuffing glands. We've basically used 50mm. These MCG ones, the thread, where you've got the lip on the 𝐼𝐭 board, the threads are too short. So every time I was tightening it up, I was getting it tight and then she was just pulling out. So luckily Lee had a black one on the van with a little bit more thread on it, so that helped. Lee's gonna go and switch on, we'll get a ZDB there. From that point, we'll sort of move along the line, switching bits on as we go, getting ZDBs, and yes, should be able to get some generation going soon.
So we've got the power back on, just getting some final readings from this area. At least all the power's up and running now, so we can get our ZS's from inverter 1 and inverter 2, and then hopefully once we've got the data down, either to the gateway or to the batteries, they're already linked, and then we can start looking at commissioning.
So all the isolators are made off now. I'm now just plugging in the DC into the panels. We've got some containment to do still around these, but I want to get the panels live, test the DC ends. So we're all tested. We're not yet commissioned. There's a problem with the 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐜 app, so we're just waiting for that to get resolved so then we can get these commissioned, but we're more or less there. There are a couple of bits that we've got to return to do, the work with the heat pumps, and a couple of other bits. The array's all been tested, the AC's all been tested, so once these are commissioned, that'll be us. It's been a long week. The boys have put in some right graft this week. We've worked late every night. So far, we've done a ground mount on a tennis court, now on a menage, so I wonder what's next. If you like these videos, there'll be more somewhere up here. We'll see you next time.